Welcome everyone to Life Lessons from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we continue after a 1 month pause with our lessons. It has been some time since we were together discussing, and so it's nice to have this reunion as we continue to explore and deepen our understanding of our teachings, our shastras, our tradition, our heritage, as it is given to us. And so I'm grateful to be back. I had a nice time in Rishikesh, being away and with an incredible Kirtan festival with Indrajuna Maharaj and other devotees that serve with him. It's nice to be back, though, in New York as well, and to be returning to life lessons from the Srimad Bhagavatam after this 3-week pause. And so, yes, very satisfied. So I'll begin just by chanting some verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam. What we're going to do is we're going to discuss Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, because it is, after all, Gaura Purnima that we've been celebrating across the planet. But I will start by just chanting some verses from Bhagavatam, because that is our tradition. And there's a nice link to the Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that we can talk about shortly. Invocatory prayers, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 2. Sutta Uvacha Yam Prabhajantam Anupetamapeta Krityam Dvaipayano Viraha Kattara Ajuhava Putreti Tambayataya Tarabo Bidedus Tam Sarva Bhuta Hridaya Murinam Anantosmi. Srila Sutta Goswami said, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto that great sage, Sukadeva Goswami, who can enter into the hearts of all. When he went away to take up the renounced order of life, sannyas, leaving home without undergoing reformation by the sacred thread or the ceremonies observed by the higher castes, his father, Vyasadeva, fearing separation from him, cried out, 'O my son!' Indeed, only the trees, which were absorbed in the same feelings of separation, echoed in response to the aggrieved father." Why do we chant this verse before discussing Bhagavatam? Because Sukadeva is the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. Here's another invocatory verse from the first canto, chapter 2, text 3. Yasvanubhavam akila shruti saramekam adhyatmadipam atitasatanam tamodam samsarinam karunaha purano guhyam tamvyasasunam upayami gurum muninam. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him, Sukha, the spiritual master of all sages, the son of Vyas, who out of great compassion for the gross materialists who struggle to cross over the ocean of material existence, spoke this most confidential supplement to the cream of Vedic knowledge after having personally assimilated it by experience. Let's say we chant 2 more verses. Very, very famous. And then we'll start our discussion. Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 4. You can chant it with me if you know it. Narayanam namaskrityam naram cheva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam buddhiraret. Before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the personality of Godhead, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Last one. Text 7 from the second chapter of the first canto. Shridvatam svakata Krishna punyashravana kirtana ridyantasto hyamadrani vidhunoti suhrit satam. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. And that's what we're going to do right now. We are going to hear the transcendental messages and thus have our hearts purified, as is described here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Let me welcome those of you who have joined us on live. We have Kirtida joining us from Norway. Kirtida sending gratitude. We have with us Achutananda from the UK, who says, welcome back. Thanks, Achutananda. Great to be back, and thank you for joining us. Janavamata joining us from Dunedin in the South Island of New Zealand says, welcome back, sunshine. Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Sri Gandharvika, my wife here in New York City, says, Hari Bol. Thanks for joining. Sri Gandharvika, I'm guessing, on the way back from work. Shama Manjari joining us from South Africa, quite late there. So grateful that you could join us, Shama Manjari. Hare Krishna, Sri Prahlad Prabhuji, and all assembled devotees. Lots of celebratory emojis there as well. Nikunja's with us from Auckland, New Zealand. Nikunja says, Hare Krishna, Sri Prahlad Prabhu, welcome back. We're also fortunate to have your association. Thank you, Nikunja. And then Mihal joins us from Polska. Mihal says, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for being here. Mihal, great to have you with us. We also have a few friends joining us on Instagram. Yaru, if I'm looking between cameras, that's what's going on. One is Facebook and YouTube, the other is Instagram here. Yaru says, Hare Krishna. Sending lots of gratitude. We have Shamalika, who says, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Shamalika says, Hare Krishna from South Africa. Wonderful. I'm so grateful for all of your association. And indeed, grateful to be back. Well, what is the big celebration for us today? We have two things that we can celebrate. One is that, well, Gaura Purnima. We have been celebrating Gaura Purnima this week. Lord Chaitanya's 536th, I think, appearance day. He appeared in 1486 in Navadvip Dham. So that's one celebration. The other is, this is 4 years of life lessons from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's also incredible, a remarkable achievement for all of us. I just noted that we have a little error in the title there that I will correct. Life lessons from Srimad Bhagavatam, but no canto, no chapters specific today. We're going to speak generally about Lord Chaitanya. So let us proceed. We can begin by invocating with an invocation that is traditional before discussing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. An invocation from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we will discuss Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How does this relate to life lessons from Srimad Bhagavatam? We can take a cue from Srila Prabhupada's his introduction, preface and introduction to the Bhaktivedanta purports of the Srimad Bhagavatam. If you remember, Prabhupada, he writes about Chaitanya as the preacher of the Bhagavatam and proceeds to describe Lord Chaitanya's entire life story and his essential teachings. And so essentially, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's established the Sankirtan movement and the emphasizing that people come together and sing and remember and glorify Krishna, which is what the Bhagavatam teaches. Bhagavatam has appeared as after the disappearance of Krishna to bring light to the people of Kali. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appears in the age of Kali to bring light to the people of this age. And what the Bhagavatam teaches, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu demonstrates. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission is the Bhagavatam mission. They are intrinsically interwoven, interconnected. And so today, for our celebration, 4 years of life lessons from Srimad Bhagavatam, we celebrate Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his appearance 536 years ago. We'll discuss it in relation to a particular devotee or associate of his, that is Kolaveca Sridhara. The past couple of years, devotees have invited me to speak about Kolaveca Sridhara and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so I guess this devotee and Lord Chaitanya's interactions with him, they're very sweet. They are in the zeitgeist of our time. And so I thought to just share some reflections of Lord Chaitanya's life using the lens or the context of his interactions with Kolaveca Sridhara as a way of bringing out the sweetness and the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we'll have 5 topics or 5 lessons. One is what is true wealth. 2, devotion over material offerings. 3, the power of pure devotion. 4, appreciation of humble offerings. And 5, union in separation. Let's dive in. Beginning with true wealth. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared in Navadvip Dham, which at the time was a center of learning in India, sometimes described as Oxford on the Ganges. It was a place where there were many teachers, and particularly they were developing a particular school of philosophy called Navanyaya. Nyaya is a form of Vedic logic. The idea being that our suffering or our struggles in the material world are because of faulty logic. And so the premise of Nyaya philosophy is that if we have good reasoning, good logic, if we're able to defeat the fallacies of illogical conclusions, we'll arrive at truth, and truth will set us free. That's the basic idea of Nyaya. It's a Vedic school of philosophy. In Navadvip, Bengal, they had a specific form of Nyaya called Navanyaya, a particular take on this philosophy. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared in that environment, a very academic environment. Because of this academic environment, partly because of this, so people had become very dry. Logic and reasoning can make the brain strong, but the heart hard. And so there was a deep materialism in Navadvip at the time. And so Advaitacharya had appealed to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to make his appearance. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to give the Yuga Dharma, hearing about, remembering, and glorifying Krishna as taught in the Bhagavatam. And so he took advantage of a particular inauspicious event that had been made auspicious with the chanting of the holy name. The inauspicious event was a lunar eclipse. Generally, a lunar eclipse is a time when in India people will stay indoors, they will close the windows, they won't cook, they won't engage in any important work. Along the Ganges, then they appreciate Ganges the Ganga is very purified. And so to escape the inauspiciousness, they go out to the Ganges and take a sacred bath. And so while Navadvip is on the Ganges, so while all of Navadvip were at the Ganga, and they were also chanting the holy name to ward off inauspiciousness. So they were chanting Hari, 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 Hari. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chose that moment to make his appearance, indicating his mission to make the whole world sing Hari, Hari, to make the world dance to the sound of the holy names. Another indication of this mission was found in his childhood activity of crying. It is natural for children, babies, to cry. And mothers, they'll have ways of pacifying their children when they cry. Maybe to rock them side by side, maybe to walk around with them. These days they'll give the baby a pacifier, or maybe sing a lullaby. So in the case of this child, Chaitanya, or Nimai as he was called at the time, the only way to stop him from crying was to chant Krishna's holy names. And so in this way he caused all the ladies and child carers who were interacting with him to chant the holy names, again indicating his future mission and purpose. Nimai's mother would take him sometimes to, as she completed household activities like shopping, for example, for household goods. And one of the vendors in the market was a Brahmana named Sridhara. And his produce was bananas or banana leaf cups or banana plates. He had a plot of land, he had banana trees there. And so he would harvest those bananas or the leaves, and he would make leaf cups, or he would take the inner stalk of the banana trunk, which is cooked as a sabji in Bengal, and he would bring that to market. And so Mother Sachi would go to him to purchase these different banana goods, banana items, and he would give Nimai, the baby, a banana as a gift, and he would have some play and interaction with baby Nimai. And Nimai grew some great affection towards this Brahmana, Sridhara, who was also called Kolaveca. Kola means banana, vecha, seller. So he's the Kolaveca, the banana seller or the banana grower, named Sridhara. And Nimai would see how his mother would barter with people in the marketplace. And so as he learned to speak and to walk, Nimai, he would also mimic his mother's activities. Any one of you who are a parent, you know how your children will mimic your activities. He would mimic his mom, and he also learned to barter in this way. And sometimes he would barter with Sridhar. How much for these bananas? Sridhar would give a price, and then Nimai would say, I will give you 50% less. And Sridhar, he enjoyed playing with Nimai in this way. And as Nimai grew, their affection grew as well. Sridhar was very poor. You don't make a lot of money selling bananas or banana leaf cups. And so one day, small Nimai, he, feeling some compassion towards Sridhar, he decided to give him some business advice. He said, Sridhar, uncle, you are so poor, and you are a devotee of Vishnu. You also do Ganga Puja. You, every 50% of whatever you make, you offer in sacrifice or in service to Mother Ganga. But see other vendors in this market, they're much wealthier than you, and they worship the goddess Kali. And so why don't you perform Kali pujas, and you could be so much wealthier. You can wear clothes that don't have holes in them or not stitched. You'll be able to have a roof over your head that doesn't have holes in it. And so this way Nimai, he offered some financial advice to Sridhara. Sridhara's response is most wonderful. He said, Nimai, are people with greater wealth any happier? He said, what is true wealth? True wealth is happiness. What is the use of being so wealthy if we are not satisfied or happy, if we're always struggling to get that wealth, or once we have it, to try to defend it or protect it or ward others off who might try to take it from us, and have so much anxiety around wealth? He said, I'm happy. I'm satisfied. I worship Vishnu. I worship Mother Ganga. I'm happy. And I see so-called wealthy people who are distressed. And so I consider myself to be wealthy in my devotion to Vishnu. I don't want any other wealth than this. And so Nimai was very pleased. He was very happy at this response, this teaching that he received from Sridhar. And he thought, I have to reveal this treasure, this wealth of Sridhar's heart to the world. Which he did, as we will find out. So we can reflect on this. We can think about wealth and success and What is it? Is it material achievement? Is it material possessions? Or is it satisfaction and fulfillment in ourselves? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's interactions with Kolaveca Sridhara show us how true richness, true wealth lies not in material possessions, but in the depth of our devotion, encouraging us to reevaluate the ideas that we may have received from society, the dominant ideas of society, that happiness is about possessions and so-called success in achievement and accumulation. That's not to say that some devotees will also be wealthy. Sudama Brahmana, he was given so much wealth by Krishna. Yudhisthira Maharaj was given a great kingdom by Krishna. So there's nothing wrong with having wealth and using it in service. But the principle is for the devotee is that our true wealth is our love and relationship with Krishna, which gives an internal satisfaction. Let's go to our second topic, devotion over material offerings. As Nimai grew, he became a great scholar, which was a remarkable achievement in this city or town of great scholarship, great pundits, and Nimai's intellect was very attractive. He developed a great understanding of Sanskrit grammar and poetics. He attracted many admirers and students, and sometimes he would go out on the town, followed by his students and admirers, and he would challenge other scholars, ask them complicated questions of Sanskrit grammar, and then when they would give a response, he would defeat them, and then he would defeat his own response. And like this, he enjoyed this rasa of scholarship. And as he returned from his school, where he taught students, he would go by Sridhar's store. So this is interesting. The same word jugglery and intellectual gymnastics that he enjoyed debating with other scholars and demonstrating to his students, he would also deploy in his bartering interactions with Kolaveca Sridhara. He would go to Kolaveca Sridhar's store, take his bananas, his banana flowers, his leaf cups, and other items, and he would ask him, what's the price? Sridhara would give a truthful price. He always did. He always spoke truth. Sridhara was a man of character. And Nimai would say, I'll give you half. And Sridhara would argue back and say, no, that's the proper price. Nimai would argue back, and they would enjoy this rasa of arguing and bartering with one another over an extended period of time. And at the very end, Sridhara would say, okay, you take it then. I don't want any of your money. And Nimai would walk away with the items for free. And so each day, Nimai would seek out Sridhara, seek him out. It's not that he needed bananas or leaf cups, but he wanted this rasa, he wanted this interaction, this exchange with his devotee, with Sridhara. He would seek him out, like Krishna was tasty. He was interested in stealing butter from the gopis in Vrindavan. He wanted to steal their hearts. And so he was interested in Sridhara's heart, to steal his heart by coming and playing with him in this game of barter and word jugglery. And of course, Sridhara, for his part, he would be waiting all day long. When will Nimai come? When will Nimai come by my store and twist my words and make me defend my truth? And so that was something that both looked forward to each day. So we can reflect on this as well. Lord Chaitanya's playful bargaining with Sridhara. It indicates a deeper spiritual truth, how Krishna values love and devotion over the material values of offerings. Krishna, he loves to interact with his devotees. So these playful exchanges between he and Sridhar, including this act of stealing Sridhar's items as Krishna stole the gopis' butter or the gopis' clothes. They emphasize that Krishna values the love and devotion of his devotees and he is attracted to it. Krishna akarshani. Krishna is attracted to the heart of his devotee and he comes to steal it. He comes to steal the heart of his devotee. Let's go to our third topic then, the power of pure devotion. Nimai, he continued his intellectual pursuits up until the passing of his father, Jagannath Mishra, when he was still a youth. And shortly thereafter, Nimai went to Gaya to offer the final rites for his father, that is called Pinda. While there, in the Vishnupad temple, a temple that you can visit to this day, it has existed there for hundreds, if not thousands of years. There is a temple of the footprint of Vishnu in stone. And while in that temple, Nimai saw a sannyasi, Ishvarapuri. And he saw this sannyasi was steeped in love of God. And Nimai was drawn to him and asked to be accepted as a disciple. And so this sannyasi initiated him into the chanting of Krishna mantra, chanting the name of Krishna. And so Nimai received this mantra from Ishvarapuri and he returned the next day and he said to him, "What kind of mantra have you given me? When I chant this mantra, tears flow from my eyes like rain, my hair stands on end, my entire body shivers. I sometimes am moved to dance, sometimes I fall to the ground. What type of mantra is this?" And Ishvarapuri told him, "The mantra is having the desired effect. You go on chanting." And so Nimai was transformed by this experience. When he returned to Navadvip, he was no longer that academic logician. He was now a lover of God. He had fallen in love with God. When you fall in love with someone, nothing else matters anymore. There's no reason like the reason of the heart, or reason knows not the reason of the heart. And so Nimai wasn't able to teach. He wasn't able to really function in the world apart from devotion. The Vaishnavas of Navadvip were very happy. Up until this point, they had been watching him and thinking, Nimai is so intelligent, he's so handsome, he's so charismatic, but what a waste. What a waste of all these gifts. If only he were a devotee of Krishna and he would put these things to good use. Once he returned, transformed as a lover of God, the Vaishnavas were very pleased and Nimai became their leader. He led them in Sankirtan, first nocturnal kirtan in the house of Shrivas, but then the kirtan went out of the house and into the marketplaces, into the streets, into different homes. And this was a great surprise to the Mohammedan ruler. He had seen that up until this point, the Hindus had been very compliant and very fearful and not confident in demanding their rights to religious freedom, not really courageous in their spiritual practice. But something had changed. He asked, on what strength have the Hindus suddenly become courageous? Meanwhile, the Brahmanas, they also felt threatened by this spiritual revolution that Nimai was leading, because up until this point, they had a monopoly. So the Muslim ruler, he was able to subjugate the Hindu citizens, Hindu populace, and the Brahmanas, they had a power base in that in order to commune with God, people had to go through the Brahmins, the Brahmana intermediaries. But what Chaitanya was teaching was that each and every person had a relationship with God, with Krishna, and they could enact and experience that relationship through congregational chanting, through the chanting of the holy name. And so the Brahmanas, they conspired. They went to the Muslim ruler and said, you have to stop this Nimai. What he's doing is not sanctioned in the Vedas. In fact, it is an abomination, and he's corrupting the masses, and he's polluting the mantras that are now going to lose their potency because the sinful masses are chanting them, and totally contrary to what we learned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, how chanting the holy name destroys all sin. The Brahmanas, they had a different theory. The sins of the masses are going to destroy the purity of the mantras. And so, with the complaint of the Brahmanas, the Muslim ruler felt he had good reason now, good excuse to stop Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. And he went around to where Chaitanya's followers were engaged in kirtan and broke the mridangas, the clay mridangas. And he said, this is a warning. If ever again I find you engaged in this Sankirtan, you will be severely punished. And so the devotees, they stopped the kirtan. They were afraid. They were intimidated. And Nimai asked them, why have you stopped the kirtan? When they told him how the Kazi had threatened them, then Nimai, he showed righteous anger. And he commanded all the people to congregate in the streets that evening with lamps and with instruments, mridangas, kartals, bugles, conch shells. And so they did. First in the hundreds, then in the thousands. Once there was a movement on the street, then those who had been a little afraid and stayed indoors, they came out as well and joined that procession, which wound through the streets of Navadvip to the palace of the Kazi. And there Chaitanya challenged the Kazi. The Kazi was initially afraid. He had hidden himself, but eventually he came out, and Nimai debated with him. And in the end, Nimai asked him for an assurance. He said, you must promise me that you'll never again obstruct the Sankirtan. And the Kazi, he did. He said, I promise, I declare henceforward that neither I nor any of my descendants will ever again interfere with the Sankirtan. That Harinam Sankirtan in our jurisdiction is protected by the government rulership or government authority and must not be interfered with. And so you might have seen sometimes in the pictures of the Navadvip Sankirtan that the devotees carry this shield. It's like round with, in the side there are two like semicircles cut out. And then in the center there is a tilak. And this is carried along with the Sankirtan. There are different explanations for what this is. One explanation that I received after inquiring widely is that the Kazi actually gave his shield to the Sankirtan parties to carry in front of the party as an indication of the Kazi's protection. And I've also seen Greek and Turkish shields in that shape. And so, yeah, that's an interesting idea. But what we do know from Chaitanya Charitamrita is that the Kazi, he declared that the Sankirtan should not be obstructed, that it should be protected. Now, when Chaitanya was returning home from the Kazi's palace with this massive Sankirtan party behind him, tens of thousands of people, he came past the home of Kolaveca Sridhara. And he stopped. He stopped the Sankirtan at Kolaveca Sridhara's house. And Kolaveca Sridhara, he had a water pot. So Chaitanya, he had just come from the Kazi's house. He could have drunk from golden goblets, but he didn't. He stopped at Sridhar's house, and Sridhar had this, what is described as a dented, beaten up, hole-ridden iron pot. And Chaitanya, he lifted that iron pot that had a little water because it had holes in it, so it couldn't hold that much water. But he lifted that iron pot and he drank from it in a very public display of drinking, and also his respecting his devotee, Sridhar. It was an act of humility, but it was also an act of respect, but also a demonstration of his high regard for Sridhar. I am drinking from Sridhar's beaten, rusty, holy pot, holy as in literally holy, but also spiritually holy, showing how Krishna, he appreciates the love of his devotees. He wants to show how much he loves Sridhar. He loves this devotee who can only make very humble offerings. And so in drinking this water, Chaitanya is showing how humility and sincerity and devotion are more valuable, more precious than outward opulence. We also see this in Krishna Lila, another banana reference when Krishna went to the court of Dhritarashtra as an ambassador for Yudhisthira and the Pandavas. Then instead of eating the feast prepared in Duryodhana's palace, he instead went to the humble abode of Vidura. And Vidura, he wasn't expecting Krishna for dinner, so he didn't have any great meal prepared. All he had were some bananas. And so he got his bananas, and he was so excited that Krishna was in his home eating, that he, with tears, he was tears in his eyes, he was peeling these bananas and feeding Krishna. But he was so overwhelmed that he was actually feeding Krishna the peel and throwing away the banana. And Krishna was so moved by Vidura's love that he was eating the peels. And so here Chaitanya, he's drinking from the iron, beaten up iron pot of his devotee, Sridhara. Once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he performed what is referred to as the Mahaprakasha Lila. This was for 21 hours. He went into this mood as Bhagavan, as the Supreme Lord. Chaitanya, he's always in the mood of the Bhakta. He appears on earth. He has an external mission to establish Sankirtan, and he has an internal mission, which is to experience the love of his devotee. Particularly, he takes the bhavana and duty of Srimati Radharani to understand what is the nature of Radha's love, what is it about Krishna that attracts her, and what is the experience of loving Krishna that Radharani has. So Chaitanya wants to explore these questions, and so he's taken the mood and complexion of Sri Radha. That's his bhakta bhav. But sometimes he would slip into Bhagavan bhav. He would slip into this identity as the Supreme Lord. And so one day at the house of Sridhar, at the house of Srivas, he exhibited this Bhagavan bhav and sat on the altar, on the Shringasan. And the devotees offered puja to him. And he was showing all the different incarnations, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, according to the mood of love and service of the devotee. And then he called, "Bring me Sridhar." And so the devotees, they went and they found Kolaveca Sridhara. They brought him to Srivasa's home, to the altar where Nimai was sitting in the mood of the Supreme Lord. And Sridhar saw Krishna and Balaram. He was in the mood of a cowherd boy. He also saw the other avatars. He saw Krishna and Balaram. And he fell down in faint. And Nimai called out to him and said, "Ask of me any benediction." Sridhar, get up. Sridhar came back to consciousness. "Ask of me any benediction." And so Sridhar, he said, the only benediction I desire is that life after life, I will have this vision of Gaura Hari, of my Supreme Lord in the form of a Brahmana boy coming to my store and haggling over the price of bananas. That's all I wish for. And Nimai, in the mood of the Supreme Lord, he says, no, I will give you the Astasiddhis. I will give you the eightfold mystic perfections that are sought after by yogis. Ask me something valuable. And Sridhar said, no, for me, the highest value is this vision of you, the Supreme Lord, as a simple Brahmana boy, haggling with me, using logic and linguistic gymnastics over the price of bananas or leaf plates or leaf cups. That's all I wish to see, life after life. We have something similar in the Damodarastakam song, where the devotee says, Namo Deva Damodar Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabhu Dukkha Jalam Dimagnam Idam Te Vapurnata Gopala Balam Sadabe Manasya Virastam Kimanyai. I don't want the opulences of heaven. I don't want mystic perfections. All I want is to behold this vision of Balagopal, this form of Krishna as a small boy stealing butter. And so Sridhar's poverty, he's not wealthy, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has him reveal true wealth is what you feel in your heart, the happiness and the devotion you have in your heart. And we might say, well, yeah, I mean, anyone who has nothing, they might justify that by saying, no, real wealth is what's in the heart, it's not possessions. But here Lord Chaitanya is offering Sridhar, take anything. He could have been the richest person in the universe at that moment in terms of material wealth as well. But he said, no, all I want is this vision of my Lord as a cowherd boy in these loving exchanges, loving dealings with his devotees. At some point, Nimai, he decided to take sannyas. So we're going down to the fifth point, union and separation. He decided to take sannyas. And the reason being is that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that sannyas is actually a trick. Lord Chaitanya's sannyas is a trick. You can think about that. Why is it a trick? How is it a trick? Nimai, he observed that the intellectuals, the students, and the sannyasis, they were avoiding his mercy. Everyone was being swept up in his Sankirtan movement of love, and they were being swept up in this wave, this flow of prema, except the sannyasis and the students. So Nimai, he decided, if I take sannyas, they won't be able to escape me, because everyone offers respect to a sannyasi. So there's someone criticizing that this wave of love of Chaitanya, the Sankirtan dancing, it's too sentimental. And Nimai considered, if I take sannyas, then they will naturally respect me, and then they might hear my mission as well, respect my mission. And so people had a sense that he was planning this. He hadn't announced it, but there was a sense that this was going to happen. And so one evening, it was actually the eve of his sannyas the next day, the devotees came around to his home, to Mother Sachi's home, and they sat with him. And Sridhar, he had this sense as well. Something's about to change. And so he also went around with a gift of a pumpkin. And Nimai received this pumpkin, and he thought, I'm not going to be here tomorrow to enjoy this pumpkin. So he called his mom, and he said, Mother, please prepare pumpkin kheer, and that I can serve it. We can serve it to my associates, my friends here. And so Mother Sachi, she did. Pumpkin kheer is like sweet rice, but instead of rice, it has pumpkin. Like in America, where I am right now, they have pumpkin pie, sweet pumpkin cooked as a pie. And so in Bengal, they have pumpkin kheer. It's very nice, very tasty. You should try it if you haven't already. And as Mother Sachi was serving the pumpkin kheer, she also had a sense that Nimai is planning to leave. He's going to take sannyas. And so as she served him, she said, Nimai, I have a request of you. Mother Sachi said, Nimai, I have a request of you. Nimai said, Mother, whatever is your request, I will take it as my, if it'll be my pleasure to fulfill that. And so she said, please never leave me. And so Nimai, we know that he's clever with language, right? He said, Mother, people will always know me as Sachi Dandana. And whenever people say, Jai Sachi Dandana, whenever they address me in this way, then you and I will be together. And so when we say Jai Sachi Dandana, we make Mother Sachi very, very happy. We bring Nimai and Mother Sachi together again. Nimai took sannyas that next day. He swam across the Ganges River. He went to Kathak. He met Keshav Bharati Swami, convinced him to give him sannyas. Keshav Bharati was not very inclined. Nimai was so young and so handsome, and he thought it's a danger to make him a sannyasi. But Nimai was very insistent and persuasive. He was good at arguing and debating and convincing others. And so Keshav Bharati, he relented. It said when the barber was called in to shave Nimai's head, people were protesting. The barber himself kept fainting. It was such beautiful hair, such a beautiful man, handsome man. To cut that hair, they were saying, is a crime. It shouldn't be done. People were cursing the barber. And the barber was so traumatized by this experience of shaving Nimai's head that at the end he said, I'm never going to shave another head again in my life. And he became something like a baker. He took on a different profession. Sridhar and the devotees of Navadvip, they would visit Nimai every year. Initially, Nimai, after taking sannyas, he took the name Caitanya or Sri Krishna Caitanya, and he planned to go to Vrindavan. But Mother Sachi, she asked him to instead base himself in Jagannath Puri, because the devotees of Bengal would go to Puri each year for the Rath Yatra. And she said, in that way, I'll be able to get news of you as devotees travel between Navadvip and Jagannath Puri. And so Nimai Caitanya, the crest jewel of the sannyasis, he took his mother's request to heart. He based himself at Jagannath Puri. Devotees would go each year to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to spend 4 months with him over Rath Yatra, and then the rainy season or the summer that followed, observe different festivals, I think until the end of the rainy season. Then they would return to Navadvip. And among them would be Sridhara. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while living in Puri, he experienced, or he was appreciating, he was tasting love in separation. He was in the mood of Sri Radha, experiencing love in separation from Krishna as the highest experience. There's union in separation. And devotees like Sridhar and the others of Bengal, they were also experiencing love in separation, or union in separation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so we can conclude this reflection on Lord Chaitanya's mission, his life, and his activities through his interactions with Sridhara through a prayer. Dearest Sri Caitanya, O you who guide the stars and master the dance of time, unto you we offer the essence of our hearts. In the garden of your eternal play, teach us to understand that true wealth is not harvested from the fields of possession, but blooms in the devotion that sings from the depths of our souls. Like the humble offerings of Sridhara, let our love and devotion be the currency with which we seek your grace. For in your eyes, the worth of an offering is weighed by the scales of love. O Sri Caitanya, grant us the power of pure devotion, that we may choose the path of service at your lotus feet over the fleeting allure of mystic powers. In our humble offerings, may we find favor in your sight, not for the opulences they may lack, but for the sincerity and humility they carry. And in the moments of our separation from you, let us find the sweetest union in your sacred name. Let us experience how physical distance diminishes not the bond between you and your devotee, for in calling your name, Jai Sachidandana, in the memory of your divine play, we are eternally united. May the pilgrimage of our souls to the altar of your love remind us that spiritual connections transcend the limits of time and space. O Sri Caitanya, hear our prayer as we seek to walk in the light of your divine love, forever aspiring to dwell in the richness of devotion beyond the shadow of material desire. So let me acknowledge some of you who joined after we started speaking. We have Janaki with us from Hungary. Janaki says, Hare Krishna Shri Prahlad Prabhu, thank you for blessing us again with your life lessons. It's an honor. Thank you for being here, Janaki. We have Joan joining us from Moolamba, we're going to say. Joan says, Hari Bol, sending gratitude and love. Thank you for being here, Joan. Shama Manjari is with us, says, thanks for the beautiful pastimes and a big thank you for these wonderful 4 years of giving us your time. Happy anniversary to all. Hari Bol. Thank you, Shama Manjari. Ananda Moy is with us from Sydney, Australia. Ananda Moy says, Hari Bol. Thank you, Ananda Moy. Ananda Moy, thank you also for your invitation. I need to get back to you on that. Achutananda Prabhuji says, Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Achutananda. And Kirtina, joining us from Norway, says, so beautiful, grateful. Thank you. I am grateful to you and to all of our Sangha here, our associates, our participants in these discussions over a 4-year period. It's incredible that we've come this far together and deepened in our appreciation of the holy name and Srimad Bhagavatam, Hari Katha, Hari Kirtan. So may you continue to deepen your appreciation for hearing and chanting and remembering and glorifying Krishna. May you deepen in your taste for chanting the holy name with attention. May you deepen your appreciation for the holy Dham, or the places where Krishna is served with devotion. May you deepen your taste for service to Krishna's deity form, who appears in our homes and in our community centers and temples to accept our services of regulated spiritual practice. And may you deepen your appreciation for devotees, for Vaishnavas. It is through the association of the mercy of Vaishnavas that we can develop our taste in these other areas as well. And so loving relationships with the devotees is the foundation for our cultivation of bhakti. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktarinda ki jai. As I'm finishing up, there is a question from Nikunja. Thank you. Please, can you shed some light on the subject of the Asta Siddhi? So the eightfold mystic perfections, they are Mahima, to become bigger than the biggest, or Lagima, to become smaller than the smallest. So that's 2. Then there's to become heavier than the heaviest, lighter than the lightest. So that's 4. There's to be able to travel at a great distance in short time, so transcending time and space. There is the ability, I think, to see past, present, and future. There's an ability to take, I think, things from distant places. I can't remember the specifics, but 8 of these very powerful. To be able to expand ourselves many times is also one of the siddhis. So many Muni, he was able to expand himself 50 times to satisfy 50 wives, 50 princesses. Similarly, Devahuti and Kardama Muni was also able to expand himself to satisfy his wife. And he was also able to manifest great palaces and mansions, which so many Muni also did. So to be able to manifest things, he's also one of those siddhis. So yeah, yogis, they develop these mystic powers. We consider them a distraction because the real purpose of yoga is Ishvara Paridhana, to worship Krishna. The real purpose of yoga is to find the Lord in the heart and then to render service to the Lord in the heart. In Bhakti Yoga, then we're engaging our senses externally as well. And so that's the essence of yoga. But what happens is that the yogi can become distracted by these siddhis that develop. If you want to learn more about the siddhis and how you can develop the formulas for developing different siddhis, you can read the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Krishna explains to Uddhava different yogic practices and meditations in order to achieve different mystic perfections in yoga. Of course, he concludes all of his teachings by describing bhakti, because bhakti transcends all of that. Chanavamata says, my heart feels unlimited gratitude once again. Thank you unlimitedly for pouring the nectar for which we are always anxious into our parched hearts. Your prayer, my heart's cry. Gaura Bhaktivinda Ki Jai. Thank you, Chanavamata, always for your encouragement. Shama Manjari, sending gratitude. Chanavamata, Jai Sachidandana, Gaura Hari, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Sri Gaura Purnima Mahotsava Ki Jai, Sachidandana, Gaura Hari Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo. We'll see you soon. Hare Krishna.